Alright, welcome to the Fireside Chat, episode 2 on today's Homesteader. Today I'm going to change things up. I know I said on the last video, today I was going to talk about solar, water, and heat. But I think we should start at step 1, and that's how do you obtain your homestead? Would you look for a homestead? And how do you go about getting one? First, I would say I would get money saved up. If you can afford $50 a month or $200 a month, go ahead and save up between $5,000 to $6,000. It may be different in your area, but normally $5,000 to $6,000 you can buy at least an acre, if not two and a half up to 5. After you get the money saved up, I would say go on Craigslist, go on Remax, go on the different websites, go out on a country road, go look at for sale signs, look for local bulletin boards that have land for sale, and just start asking around. Go out, look for property, and call up all the different ones. When you're looking for property, there's a couple things you want to look at. One, you want to figure out if the land will hold everything you want. So you want to have a mental plan on the homestead will go here, the chicken coop will go there, the pens will go there, the shed will go here, the garage, the driveway, everything like that. So you need to mentally visualize that when you're looking at the land to see if it's even going to fit what you want to put onto the land. The next thing you want to figure out is what are you looking at doing? Do you just want it for gardening? Do you want to get chickens? Do you want cows? Do you want horses? And then you're going to have to go through, look at the land again and figure out, okay, will the land sustain cows? Will it sustain chickens? What can I do here? What can I do there? After you figure those things out, probably the most important thing besides having money to buy the land is you're going to want to figure out your water, because water is life. You want to know if there's a pond, a creek or stream, if there's a well on the property, if you can have a well put on the property, and if you can you afford it? If not, you're going to have to look at rain catchment like I do. So the next thing you have to do once you get the land to obtain water is you're going to have to build a bunch of buildings so you have roofs to collect water on. Or you can look at your local town or closest city, and you might have to haul water or call a water company and have it delivered like they do in Alaska. After the water, and you figure out what you want on the land, if the land's going to sustain it, then you go ahead and purchase that land. Once you purchase the land, then it's all up to you. You can do it one of two ways. You can go ahead and run head first into the property and start work right away. Get a little camp trailer put on there so you can live on there. Or two, if you have a job that you're going to be keeping, then you can start going out on weekends. Go out, take a tent, or get a camp trailer, or if you have your own RV, and go out there for Saturday and Sunday, or whatever your days off are. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's, pick up some twine or string. I recommend the marking string that is either fluorescent pink, fluorescent yellow, fluorescent green, so you can see it. And then next thing you want to do is get a bunch of stakes. And what I recommend is the weekends that you spend out there, or if you're moving on there right away, go ahead and do a physical drawing with the string and pins and figure out, okay, the chicken house is going to go here. It's going to be a 10 by 10. So then go ahead and put stakes out and do a 10 by 10 perimeter. Once you have all that figured out, then go ahead and draw it down on a piece of paper so you have it as a record. And then you need to sit down and figure out your plan. What's the most important thing to get done first? Do you want to have a garden in first? Or do you want to have chickens first? Or do you want to build your house? Or build a goat barn? Or build a pen? My recommendations from mistakes that I have made is one, before you get any animals, make sure you have the infrastructure. Make sure you have the buildings done. Make sure you have the runs done, the pens. Make sure all the fencing's complete. Because not only will that save you a headache, but that will also save you money in the long run. Because if you have chickens and rabbits and different animals getting out of their area, and you're in an area in the wilderness where you have bears, mountain lions, coyotes, wolves, everything like I have here, you're going to lose those animals. And if you're buying those animals and you lose, say you're paying $10 a chicken and you have 10 chickens, you just spent $100 on those chickens. And if you don't have a fence done and you bring them home and you don't have somebody to help you, or you don't have enough daylight to get that done, if you don't have a way to contain those chickens until morning, most likely that $100 is going to be down the drain. You're going to have some type of predator come in and eat your animals. Or your animals will simply run away because they're not conditioned to their new home. Another thing you want to do that I've learned through another mistake is I've got animals. I started this year. I got last winter of 2016. So I've had animals for approximately 3 to 4 months now. And one thing I've learned is that before you get animals, if you want to sustain animals without having to come up with money to feed them, would be start a garden. Get a garden going. Go ahead, build culture beds. Get some orchard trees, pears, apples, plums, whatever you can in your area, and plant it. Wait a couple years before you get animals. Now, chickens, you can get a small flock. I would recommend 4 to 6 for a starter flock, because depending on the hens, you can get up to 4 to 6 eggs a day. Sometimes it will be less, but they won't take that much feed. 4 to 6 chickens, you can buy a 50-pound bag, and that will last you almost a month. If you do the garden and the orchard, like I say, then you have feed for them for spring, for summer, for fall. And depending on how big your garden is and how much food you can produce, you can always dry the food in a dehydrator and pack the food away in Ziploc bags for chicken food, for rabbit food, for goat food. My goal this year is I'll have multiple culture beds going, and I'll be planting my first fruit trees to start my orchard of my goal within 10 years to be up to 250 fruit trees. Now, once I get up to 250 fruit trees, and my culture beds will be growing all the vegetables, at that point in 10 years, I will be self-sustainable in the fact that I'll be able to feed all of my animals off of my land and will no longer have to buy food, because I will be able to harvest the food in the fall, dehydrate it, and be able to feed my animals all winter long. The next step in you obtaining your homestead, once you have the land, once you have everything drawn out, is start building. Do step by step. If it's weekends, don't stress out. For the first, I would say 6 to 9 months is going to be the hardest part, whether you're there weekends or you move on there directly. If you move on there directly, the number one cons that I have discovered is there's no people out here. In your area, you might buy close to a neighbor, but in my area, I've got about 3 neighbors in a half-mile distance. So if you're in the city and you move out into the woods, you will have a little bit of lonesome feeling. You will have bouts of possible depression if you let it get to you. It's all in how strong you are in the mind and what mentally you're able to deal with. As for me, uh, once in a blue moon, I'll be lonely, but what I have 50 miles from my house is a hot springs, and I go to the hot springs normally twice a month, and I get my socialization in there. And I also connect through people through this channel and through Facebook. For the first 6 to 9 months, it's basically an adaptation period. You're going to be used to all the luxuries that you have in the city, and unless you have money to get everything going at once, which most people I would assume would be in my position, that you're looking to homestead because A, you lost your job, B, you're looking for a healthier way of life, or C, you're running low on funds and you're looking at substituting your grocery bill for veggies. You're looking at substituting your grocery bill for fresh chicken meat, pig meat, ducks, turkey, rabbit, whatever you're looking at doing. And if you're doing that, then you're not going to be able to have a house and plumbing and electric and washer and dryer and fridge and freezer on day one after you close on that land. It's going to be camping for those first 6 to 9 months, up to a couple years, depending on how far you can push through, how hard of a worker you are, and what funds you have available over the period of time in order to build. So the first step in building the house is doing a foundation. And with the foundation, you got to decide what type of house you're looking at doing. Are you looking at doing a stick-built house? Or are you looking at doing an earthship? A lot of people don't know what an earthship is. That's where you collect tires from tire places that they're trash tires, and you get dirt and a sledgehammer, and you pack the tires as tightly as you can with dirt, and you stack them up, and then you run stucco wire on the outside and inside, and then you go ahead and mortar over top that with stucco, and that you can make a earthship house out of tires and dirt. You could be looking at doing a straw bale house, which in my area there's a lot of people that have done straw bale houses, and basically you're building a house of bales of straw, and then once again you're going to cover in stucco wire and do a little bit of framework to make the walls stable, and then you go ahead and stucco over the straw, and you basically have a mortared house like the earthship. With the foundation, it depends on what house. After the foundation is going to be the structure, the walls. Once you have the walls up, I recommend getting a roof put on it almost immediately. The quicker you get a roof put on your house, the quicker you can tin it, put some gutters on it, and start collecting water. Then you have a source of water. Now, if you have a well on your property, use the well for the house, use the rain catchment for watering the animals, for watering your plants, for growing fruit trees. It's all in what you're looking at doing and what you think you want to do and your knowledge. The best thing I can recommend on building your homestead is YouTube. Go on to all these channels. Google how to build a house, how to put in a breaker box, how to put in plumbing. I'll go over some of these things on my channel as I progress, but that's what I did. I've never built nothing in my life. I've never gone into a technical school. I never learned any building trades. And when I bought this land, that's what I did. I went on YouTube and I Googled and Googled and Googled on YouTube. I went through videos, hours on end, days after days, week after weeks, to find out, Do 9 people say to put in plumbing this way and only one person says this way? What I wanted to see was the majority. I wanted to go through at least 20 channels on a subject and find out who does the best work, who says it's the most simple way of doing it, and has not had any problems. And then I go ahead and look at the 20 channels and I figure out, okay, 16 people did it this way, 4 people did it this way. The 16 people look like it's done right. They had the best reviews. They don't have any leaks when they're finished. So what do? I go ahead and do what the 16 people do. And then I also imagine things in my mind and figure out new strategies and different things to make it more convenient and more simple for me to operate. Once you get that roof put on, then I recommend running all your electric lines and all your plumbing lines. I have screwed up here, and that's one mistake you don't want to make. Some of my building, since I'm not building my whole house at once, I'm building room by room, I have found it difficult to put in electric line and plumbing line afterwards. It's a lot more work if you have walls and everything insulated and floors insulated prior to you running the electric line and plumbing lines. If your floors are insulated, your walls are insulated, and your walls are sealed, you're going to either have to fish lines through the walls, through the ceilings, through the floors, or you're going to have to pull part of the walls down and pull the insulation out and redo everything. After you have the insulation, or after you have the wire and the plumbing done, then I would insulate. After you test everything, make sure the electric works everywhere, make sure the plumbing works everywhere, because that's another mistake I have made, is you don't want to button up something and then have to tear the wall back down to get back to the plumbing because a shutoff valve is turned off or it's leaking and you see water coming through the wall onto the floor. So make sure everything works prior to buttoning up the walls. After you've tested your plumbing and your electric, go ahead, insulate. After you get done insulation, go ahead and get your walls done. Whether that's drywall, plywood, or paneling. Whatever you choose for your homestead. In my case, as you can see here, my walls are 3/4 inch plywood. And the reason I did 3/4 inch plywood is because I didn't want the headache of sanding and dusting drywall. The next reason is excuse me. The next thing is anything you want to hang. On drywall, you have to find a stud. In 3/4 inch plywood, you can put a screw in the wall and it will hold hundreds of pounds of weight without any problem. Once you get your house buttoned up, then go ahead and start on the animal enclosures or start on the garden. My sincere recommendation is get a garden first. Do not get animals first, because if you get animals like me, I'm spending $200 a month in feed, where if I had a garden going, I could be feeding out of my garden. My garden upstairs in the upstairs bathroom, it's small, it's not much, but it is giving me some leaves and some onion tops and things like that to supplement and give them a little bit of fresh food versus grains. The next step I want to say would be after you have your garden, go ahead and start looking at animals. You've got to decide what type of animals you want, what you're looking at getting the animals for, and if you can handle death. One thing I'm going to say is on the homestead, you're going to have to get used to the circle of life. You will have a chicken that is fine one day, and the next day it gets caught in the fence and dies in the middle of the night. You go out in the morning, or you go out during the day, if it happens during the day, and you find your chicken dead. If you don't have netting over the top, which most of my pen is not netted because it's about 150 feet by 60 feet wide, so it would cost me way too much to cover my animals. But you got to look. You're going to have hawks come in. You're going to have owls come in. You're going to have mountain lions come in. Bears, coyotes, wolves, lynx, bobcat, and who knows what other animals are in your area. You're going to see blood. You're going to see dead bodies. You're going to have to dispose of them. You're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to toughen up, rub some dirt on it, and push forward. That's the life of a homesteader. You're going to experience death. You're going to experience blood, guts, and gore. That's just a way of life in the homestead. If you're all right with that, then go ahead and get your animals. I've got 3 goats that are castrated males. They're known as wethers. They are pets. I cannot use them for breeding. I cannot use them for milk. I do plan, however, to get some female goats. And I'll be hopefully getting some female goats that are already bred, so I don't have to get a male to breed them, because males are really stinky. They like to pee on their beard, and the scent of that pee over weeks and weeks gets stronger and stronger, and that's basically like a skunk. That's how they attract a female. The stinkier the goat is, the more appealing they are to breed. Once I get female goats, then I'll go ahead and I'll start, if they're pregnant, then that be said. If not, then I'll have to go ahead and get a male goat that's not castrated, and then I'll go ahead and breed the goats, and then once the babies are born, then I'll go ahead and I'll keep milking the goat, and I'll be pulling in my own goat milk, which I can make butter, I can make goat cheese, I can make goat milk ice cream, I can make goat soap, lotions, lathers, conditioners, everything like that. By doing that, that's going to cut bills down. I'll no longer be buying milk from the store. I'll no longer be buying butter and cheese and cleaning products and lotions. One misconception with goats is that goat's milk is disgusting and sour. That is true to a point. I had neighbors down in the valley that had goats, and I found out if you clean out all the weeds from the pen that the goats are going to be in that produce the milk, and you feed them alfalfa, mineral blocks, and baking soda with some corn or grain that's not that would be sour, then the goat milk actually tastes just like cow's milk. I did not believe that. I went down, I tried my neighbor's goat's milk, and sure enough, it tastes just like cow's milk for the ones that they had in that pen. I also tried the goat's milk that were free range on their property, and I can tell you that is some of the worst milk I have ever tasted, because we have sage and all different weeds out here that tainted the milk, and the milk was not pleasant whatsoever. If you want pigs, I'll be getting pigs in 2018, so I'll be able to show you about pigs, and I'll also be getting honeybees in 2018. I will also be getting the flow hive. It's a new invention that an Australian father and son came up with down in Australia that came out in January of 2016. And I'll be purchasing one of those and doing an entire demo and showing how the flow hive works. Right now, like I said, I have the 3 goats. I have 30 to 40 ducks. I know a lot of people say they hate ducks. A lot of people say they're messy, they're loud, they're annoying, they're like Tasmanian devils, like Minnie Mouse, my puppy dog. But I will say they do make a mess. You have to clean their water out because they poop in it. They splash water everywhere. They are very messy. However, the ducks are probably the easiest animals I have out of all my animals. I have, I think, 5 or 6 different types of ducks. I haven't noticed a difference between any of them. They all stay together. They all waddle all over the place. They all are quacking and swimming and raising hell, which I enjoy. I love sitting outside on my roof or sitting out in the animal enclosure and just listening to the chickens cluck and the ducks quack and the goats running around and things like that. So ducks, in my opinion, are a great animal for the homestead. However, I have not got my chicken plucker yet, so I do not know what a duck tastes like. I will be getting a chicken plucker this summer, and once I get the chicken plucker, I'll be doing a demo on that. And I'll be getting a rotisserie for my grill that I can do the ducks, the chickens, and the turkeys. So at that point, I can let you know what a duck tastes like, the best way to cook a duck, and my opinions on it. The next animals I have between 80 to 90 chickens, and I have all different varieties. I know nothing about the chickens. I don't know what type they are, what color eggs they lay. All I know is I get multiple different color eggs. I know the chickens have done well. I have not had any die in the winter. I have not had any ducks die in this winter, and none of my goats have died. Then I also have rabbits. A lot of people have rabbits in hutches. With me, it's a lazy homestead. So my idea was put all the animals together in one big pen, let the rabbits run, and of course my rabbits are producing, which when I get up to about 150, 200 rabbits, I'll go ahead and start butchering out rabbits, and I'll start making my own dog food between that and my crops that I grow. And then I'll buy a couple 100-pound sacks of rice and be able to make my own dog food. That will end up saving me 60 to 80 bucks a month at the Walmart buying dog food because I'll make my own. It won't cost me money. I also have 2 turkeys. I plan on getting more turkeys later on this year, hopefully. If not, I'll try to hatch whatever eggs I get from the turkey that I have now. I have both a tom and a female. Also, with the ducks and the chickens, I plan on hatching out baby ducklings and baby chicks this year, and that's going to be another source of revenue. I'm going to go ahead and put ads up. I'm going to put flyers out that says I sell baby hatchlings, and I'll be able to start selling baby chicks and baby ducks for $3 to $4 a chick or a duckling. And if I can get some turkeys going, I'll do the same thing with the turkeys. One of the great things about homesteading is whatever you do, you're able to make money. My chicken eggs, I have 14 to 16 customers. So all my eggs are always sold. This spring, I'm going to try to start hatching out babies. If I can accomplish that, that's going to bring me in money. When I get the honeybees in 2018, I'll be able to sell honey from the honeybees. My pigs, I'll raise 3 to 4 pigs. I'll have one butchered for me. I'll trade one pig out to the butcher for him butchering my pig. And then the other 2 pigs I'll sell. So it's all about barter trade, selling, and coming up with ways to live without working a 9-to-5 job. Once you have your animals, then you need to look at what's next. Do you want the next adventure? Say you get chickens. Do you want to go ahead and try ducks? Or do you want to try pigs? Or do you want to try horses because you like to horseback ride? It's all up to you on how far or how little you go in homesteading. My advice is be happy, be stress-free, and enjoy what you have, what you do, and where you go. Have a good night. Live happy, live free. That's the only way to be.